We just got one of the biggest update sneak peeks I think we've gotten in recent time here in Brawl Stars, and my goodness, you all already know your boy Ray's gonna break it down. So as I've been saying quite frequently now here on the channel, the update is right around the corner, and I always try to do my best to make sure you guys are up to date with pre, post, and during update content so we're all in the loop. So make sure to subscribe. Things are getting so dang juicy with this update. It's going to be a big one. But of course, the main subject of this video is centralized around a 1 minute and 16-second hype as heck animation that was just released here today. It's titled Brawl Stars Animation Charging Up to the Max. Now, I have a decent idea as to what it's trying to give us in the form of a sneak peek. If you didn't know, this whole 1 minute and 16-second animation is a gigantic sneak peek for this future update that we will be getting more info on September 2nd with the Brawl Talk, and September 1st with the Brawl Talk thumbnail and the most interesting teaser photo on the Brawl Stars social medias. Stay tuned for that. But before we break down the interesting sneak peeks within the animation, I first just want to point out the significance of an animation itself. It's at that caliber or in that ballpark of some of the animations that we've seen in the past, right? The crazy viewed ones like Piper, Sugar, and Spice, and even some of the more recent ones like 11 months ago, The Last Stand There. It's not just to celebrate a release of an update or release of skin sets. It's its own thing. It's hype thing that they're trying to promote, right? That has something to do with the next update. So given that, in and of itself, I think gives credibility to the fact that season 20 is going to have something hype in it, or something that the dev team would make an animation for to get the hype rolling in front of the update. i.e., it's going to be a big implementation, and I have an idea as to what that's going to be. Transitioning over here to Twitter, where the animation has been posted and we can get a bit more context. As you can see tweeted out with this message, Bull had enough. Hashtag HYPERCHARGE, hashtag Brawl Stars. Of course, HYPERCHARGE is within the actual video itself, but a lot of the time, the Brawl Stars dev team will hit us up with a hashtag of importance that I'm assuming this hashtag will be carrying on throughout the update, right? A important factor. But getting through the animation itself here, and I strongly advise you all to watch it for yourself. It's one of the coolest animations that I've seen here coming out from the Brawl Stars dev team. It is so beautiful. But our little animation starts off with Bull getting bashed through a wall with some fun sneak peeks right off the get-go, which we will break down a little bit further on here. Bull is broken and defeated. We go into a training montage where he's trying to get stronger and stronger, pushing himself past his limits, or trying to, at least. He's training with his gang here, doing his best to get stronger, but he gets up, grabs his shotgun as he's training. He's getting bashed in the face and working harder and harder, and he starts to push. And he starts to push, and he finds something within himself, something different. He gains a surge of power, and it shows some other characters also obtaining this strange power. We have Shelly, Colt putting in some supercharged bullets, getting a crazy wicked flare. We've got the Gold Arm gang popping up, working on a robot. We get HYPERCHARGE again, and then flash to the end. We have a robot awakening in purple. Interesting. It's so freaking good. I think this animation gives us a lot of stuff about the next update, including a huge feature coming to gameplay here, while on top of that giving us some further context of what one of the newest brawlers coming to the game are going to be like. Guys, it looks like we hit the nail right on top of the head. I think Gold Arm Gang is getting a new brawler fitting into his trio, this time I think being a robotic brawler. I just want to cut in here post recording. I've been seeing a little bit of discussion within the community that this very well could be power level 12. I get why some people are thinking that. There's this potentially interesting new power coming to the game. You know, maybe you have to be a new power level to unlock it, but I want to make certain that you guys aren't expecting that, seeing that we've gotten so much context clues from Frank himself in podcasts that they're not even comfortable to this day with where power level 11's at. Power level 12 is so far down the line as of right now. But before we get into the potential new Brawler information, we first need to piece together the other important things coming from this animation that is giving us this huge Easter egg about Season 20 here. The animation starts off right away with a fun sneak peek, some information that we already know of, and that is the license plate there at the very top, giving us the Brawl Talk date with a Starr Park location, which is really cool if you ask me. But we have BT0902, so September 2nd. If we needed that confirmation anymore, it's what we predicted some time ago, and it looks like it's correct. Now, as we go throughout this animation, the story being told of Bull's training arc here, I think, has one very important message that is giving us info for Season 20, but I also think there are some underpinnings, much like a proposed implementation that we had brought up in yesterday's video, that Bull might be getting a remodel. It might be a big reason why Bull is centerpiece within this animation. It's not something we really saw coming, but I think it makes sense for Bull to finally get a remodel. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I think there's been so much evidence now to help support that I wouldn't be surprised if it did end up coming. But getting to the bigger picture here, one thing you guys will see a lot in the background throughout this animation is the gems that we would see frequently within Gem Grab, which I think is really significant to this big thing coming out in Season 20. We move throughout the animation itself. We see Bull training and doing his best, working out, trying to push past his limits, but again, we see some gems there in the background. It's a really nice, cool contrast where most of this animation, the color is bleak and grayish, but then you have these really eye-popping purple gems in the background, which I think symbolizes its importance that much more. But nearing the climax of this animation, we have Bull continuing his training where he finds himself on a treadmill. Now, BB continues to throw things at Bull. I think it's symbolism for some mechanics that Bull has, where it looks kind of brutal, right? He's busting through all of these things, but it's very much Bull's character to smash through things with his super. He can break walls, break obstacles, right? That's just his character. He's running through things, training, utilizing his mechanics. I want you guys to keep in the back of your mind supers as we're getting these first flashes and glimpses of Bull passing his limits and getting supercharged. I think something incredibly important is happening within Season 20 to the super mechanic. Bringing up a bit more evidence here as Bull finally surpasses his limits going through his training arc, he finds himself passed out on the ground and waking up and finding this purple flash going through his nose. And once he gains this power, we get this lightning charge up, almost like if you guys know Dragon Ball Z or something like that. It looks like he's going like Super Saiyan. He's finding a new caliber of power that he was trying so desperately to obtain throughout this animation, but finds it there towards the end when he's passed out and needs that power the most. But where we get the most important information from this new feature being added into Season 20 is towards the later half of the animation, where we see other brawlers also obtaining this power. So just going off the animation itself, not even taking into account some other context clues to indicate something important happening to supers outside of this animation, which we will be getting into, I think it's glaringly obvious that supers are being touched upon or are at play here, seeing that Bull is getting his supercharge or this weird function going on while he is utilizing his super. He's running, right? Bull's super is he charges through things and breaks obstacles. The symbolism is uncanny where BB is tossing things at him and he's breaking apart everything being tossed his way. But while he's in this run symbolizing his super, he awakens this brand new power, which can also be seen from the other individuals at the end of the animation, where Shelly is using a shotgun shell, which is definitely with her super, where Shelly is granted this power when she puts this shell into her shotgun, getting that bolts of lightning going on when she does. And same goes for Colt here. He picks up this purple ammo there, loads it into his gun, and then he gets this lightning bolt of power. So I wouldn't be coming to this conclusion if this wasn't the case. If, for example, Shelly and Colt did the same exact thing that Bull did, where they just got like flashes of power, it'd be a lot harder to piece together. But seeing that Shelly and Colt are respectively getting this power up, but getting it by utilizing some of their mechanics leads me to believe that supers are at play here. Not only that, the verbiage that we're getting throughout this animation where they're trying to surpass their limit is charging things. We're getting things like charging to the max.
I'm charging up to the max.
Charging past their limits. Charging even further beyond.
And then charging up even more!
It's the type of language that we use when talking about supers here, right? When inside of Brawl Stars, other than supers, do we charge things? You don't charge star powers, you don't charge gadgets. The only mechanic within Brawl Stars where we utilize the wordings of charging things up is charging up your super. So seeing that we're getting this hypercharge mechanic, I think once again gives us further context that something is happening to the super. Now, with all of this in mind, just from the animation alone, I think it gives us even more context to a speculation or a theory that we've brought up in recent episodes of Brawl News that we really didn't have an explanation for. Now I think we do. In the 30-minute video that we made some time ago, trying to piece together this update, giving context clues over multi-update Easter eggs, leading us to this point, coming to conclusions like a new brawler fitting into the Gold Arm Gang. But on top of that, somewhat of an interesting tale being told all the way to the point where we see here in this photo, where we have the gang of pirates finding this treasure. But of course, the most important piece of treasure is in Griff's hands here, the golden skull with ruby eyes. This skull brought up several times already at the very beginning of the Brawl Talk for season 8. We saw the skull as well, symbolizing, I think, the implementation that is coming out in season 20, this hypercharged supers. Now that we have this animation, I think it's so dang obvious. What is in the middle of the super button, dude? A skull. I think this skull is the same skull within the super button. Instead of having regular eyes, it has these crimson ruby eyes. So literally, I think Griff is holding this big hypercharged super implementation in season 20. This is that symbolism where we have the golden skull with red eyes. But getting back to the animation here, after going over some context clues outside of it, we get even more interesting stuff towards the literal end of the animation. We have the Gold Arm Gang popping up, y'all. I think adding even more to some of the claims that we've brought up in recent videos here, that the Gold Arm Gang has quite a significant hand within this update, i.e. a new brawler fitting into their trio, and hearing some speculation within the community, I think we might be looking at that new brawler right now. I could be wrong about this, but it might make sense to get a robotic brawler fitting into the Gold Arm Gang. Given the relationship that we have with the Gold Arm Gang and robots, I don't think it's that far-fetched, where we have Belle incredibly well equipped to be able to modify robots or take control of them. It gives reason to why Belle and Sam broke into the robot factory to try to gain control of it for these robotic parts. Seeing that Belle can manipulate them, and it looks like Sam might be able to a little bit as well, it might just make sense that they would end up creating their last brawler fitting into the trio here. We have Sam working, beating on this robot's head here, and at the very end of the animation we get this flash of super hypercharged lightning once again, and then we have the eyes of the robot finally awakening, the robot that Sam is working on here, and its eyes turn purple with this hypercharge energy. Now, looking at this a little bit closer here, this potential new brawler within season 20, it looks like we can see a little bit more about them. It looks like this robot is encased within this dome here with its eye hole sticking out and seeing its head. But another thing that I want to point out, given the actual structure of this robot being made here, I think that was the silhouette that we ended up seeing in yesterday's video that we discussed discussed here. We have the silhouette of Shelly, and then this silhouette. It's literally 1-for-1 if you ask me. A flat surface, a dome coming up from the middle, kind of like a floating saucer-esque shape. It's the exact same thing that we see here with this silhouette. I think adding to the fact that this will be a new brawler fitting into the Gold Arm gang and one of the new brawlers fitting into this season 20. So I think we got a sneak peek for one of the newest brawlers coming out in the update, and I think we have a very important sneak peek for some sort of hypercharged super mechanic. I'm not sure what that is, but I think we're also getting some other context clues for, again, that overarching story that we discussed in the 30-minute video. We might be able to talk about this a little bit deeper in a future video here, maybe an update to the timeline that we presented in that episode, but I think we're getting some context clues for these missing gems. Potentially, if you guys ended up watching that 30-minute video, the story of the Gold Arm gang breaking into the robot factory and potentially them being the culprits for these missing gems. Maybe they ended up stealing these gems for a reason. Maybe they ended up breaking into the robot factory for a reason. Maybe their intentions the entire time from stealing the gems and getting into the robot factory was to make their final brawler fitting into their family, right? If we're following the storyline here, it makes a ton of sense, and maybe season 20 is the precipice or the conclusion of this multi-update story being told. And the payoff is them utilizing the stolen gems to find this brand new power and using it to help create their third brawler fitting into this trio. Maybe they knew of this like potential within the gems that they unlocked given like Belle's know-how, and they're beating into this brand new brawler's head this brand new power, while at the same time brawlers like Shelly and Colt are also coming across this power and utilizing it for themselves, but I think first discovered by Sam and Belle. Seeing that almost feels like they are granting this new brawler with that power, right? The hypercharge power. And then maybe by proxy, just being around these gems, it wasn't like sought after by the Bull gang here, but seeing that they're all around them and stuff like that, maybe he unlocked this hidden power because the gems were around him. Is a really, really cool idea, and I would love to hear what you guys are thinking about the animation itself. What are you guys thinking about this hypercharge mechanic coming to the game? At the very least, I think we can all agree that this next update is going to be incredibly hype if, for example, this ongoing storyline is hitting a climax and we're getting to this final outcome. If all of that was leading up to season 20, that in and of itself shows that this update is going to be crazy. Super, super exciting, man. This update is going to be one to remember, I have a feeling. But yeah, everyone, hopefully you all are excited as I am. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel. Once again, if anything new comes around the corner in regards to this animation or anything that I'm missing out on from this, I'll be keeping you guys up to date on that. But now, just in a few days here, we're going to be getting that update sneak peek as well as the Brawl Talk thumbnail to break down here. So I'll be covering that as well. Make sure to stay tuned. It should be fun. But yeah, with that being said, have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Keep having fun with Brawl Stars, and we'll see you all in the next one. Adios and take care.